Good morning, dear brothers and sisters. My name is Lynn Osier, and I am the Regional Formation Director for the Brothers and Sisters of St. Francis Region. This presentation was put together by Allison Salerno, Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation Animator for the BSSF, Sharon Winsler, Communio Editor, and myself in celebration of the 30-year anniversary of our region. We regret that we are unable to be with you at this moment, but our leadership roles require us to be elsewhere at this time. We hope that you enjoy this audio-visual scrapbook of a few memories from the early years of the Brothers and Sisters of St. Francis Region. This work is just a little peek into a window of the past. We thank you for all the pictures and stories that we received. Everything submitted has been saved, and we're looking at ways to add to this collection and to add new material as the story of our region goes on. It's been our privilege to hear stories and see pictures of brothers and sisters who carried the region and the order 30 years ago. We've been inspired and hope that you will be inspired to do what is ours to do in our time to keep the flame of the secular Franciscan order burning bright in this world. Pax et bonum, peace and all good.
Yeah, and everything matters if anything matters at all. Yeah, and everything matters no matter how big, no matter how small. God believes in you. God believes in you.
My name is Christine Washington, and I was born in Yonkers, New York, and I'm a member of St. Joseph Cupertino Fraternity in Bessemer, Alabama. I was professed on October 3rd, 1982, the 800th anniversary of the birth of St. Francis. Before the region was formed, fraternities were bonded to the provinces of the First Order assistants. In our case, that was St. Anthony of Padua Province, which was centered at that time in Massachusetts. We were and still are the only fraternity in Alabama. We did have contact with other seculars in the St. Anthony of Padua Province, but thought we were the only secular Franciscan fraternity south of the Mason-Dixon line, so we felt isolated. We learned about Franciscan spirituality and how to live our vocation as seculars from the friars. Our focus and our apostolates were based on their needs. What were the benefits of our forming a region? Well, first of all, we found that there were many secular Franciscan fraternities in the South, while we had brothers and sisters who were living the same vocation we were. That was so energizing and an answer to prayer. And who knew that Immaculate Conception Fraternity was only 2.5 hours away in Atlanta, Georgia? Wow. We were able to communicate with the other secular Franciscans and learn how to live our lay vocation from each other. The region became our lifeline. Another benefit was the start of our ability to organize ourselves. I remember the initial forming meeting in Greenville, South Carolina, and a meeting in Chattanooga, Tennessee. In those days, there was one counselor per state. Our counselor was Jane Cusick. We also started meeting once a year for a regional gathering. The first one I remember met at Maggie Valley, North Carolina. Believe it or not, I remember that there were only about 25 or 30 of us there. Yes, only 25 or 30. We soon outgrew Maggie Valley, however, and moved to Hickory and then to Charlotte before moving here to Ridgecrest. NAFRA became the lifeline for our region. The thing I valued most at that time were the 6 commissions they gave us. I felt the commissions helped give us a guide in specifically applying our rule in our lay state of life and helped us pull away from being kind of an arm of the First Order. But regionalization also allowed us to come out with our own initiatives. An important one was for our region was the 4 pillars of the Franciscan spirituality. In 2001, I was elected the formation director of the region. I felt that a manual would help us in our formation, and the council agreed. So we developed the first formation manual. The 4 pillars were developed and became an important part of the manual. Father Linus was the main author of the 4 pillars. Audrey Benet collaborated very closely with him on that, and with me on the inquiry and candidacy phase reflection questions. We distributed our region's first formation manual at the ARG in 2003. Later, Faye Martin added reflection questions to the 4 pillars, as well as many more important changes to what was then termed guidelines for initial formation.
My name is Jonita Mary Nellenbach in Rochester, New York. I'm a member of St. Francis of the Hills Fraternity in Hendersonville, North Carolina. I made my profession on December 12, 1998. About Father Linus. He had a tremendous impact on our region. I think he became our regional spiritual assistant in 1999. It was Audrey Benet, who was regional minister at the time, who persuaded him to take that on. He was campus minister in Georgia at Kennesaw State University and Berry College, but he gave us so much of his time. Back then, when we had fewer fraternities, he and Audrey did all the visitations and elections. He also gave retreats and was a spiritual director to a number of us, including me. He was so open and giving of his time, always available when people needed to talk to him, and although as a spiritual assistant usually serves a fraternity for 12 years, he stayed on as ours for spiritual assistant for 16 years. As he said, no one else is chomping at the bit to get the job. He had transferred to campus ministry in Syracuse University in 2008, but he came down to us to teach those SA classes, and he was available by email for Regional Executive Council business, even if he couldn't always attend the meetings. As my spiritual director, he was certainly demanding. We began in 2006 when he was still in Georgia. The first thing I had to do was write my spiritual biography. Then before every spiritual direction session, I had to write a reflection about where I was in my life at that time and send it to him before the session. He almost never assigned a topic. That was up to me. I took notes on what he told me during our sessions, and his words still guide me. Once he transferred to Syracuse, we had our sessions after the spiritual assistant training sessions and during and after the ARG. In those sessions, we talked about spirituality, but also about my writing, which is part of my vocation. We never discussed writing fiction, but on the next to the last session we had, before he died, he suddenly said, "You need to write a novel. Doing fiction will expand your vocabulary and your creative power." And I protested that I didn't have much talent for fiction, and he said, "Stop it. I hate that. I don't even want to hear it. Never had any talent for fiction." Around 2005, the Conference of National Spiritual Assistants, the CNSA, created a textbook for the program. The book was called Life-Giving Union. But before the program even got started, CNSA decided the book needed to include training for regional spiritual assistants. So in 2008, we had the updated book, Franciscan Family Connections. We now use the version that was updated in 2011. Our program in this region began with our first training session on March 15th, 2008 in Belmont, North Carolina. We stayed at the Holiday Inn there, so I think that's where we also had the training. There were 2 more sessions that year, one in June and one at the annual regional gathering in August, and then we had 4 sessions in 2009, and were commissioned as spiritual assistants on August 8th, 2009 during the ARG. Father Linus taught all the classes until his death on December 1st, 2015. Eventually, he wanted help, and we had a training team. Him, Audrey Benet, Faye Martin, and me.
I'm Jenny Taylor Johnson, and I was born in Knoxville, Tennessee on December. One of our initial tasks was from National, and that was to name our region. We wanted the name to reflect who we were as Third Order Secular Franciscans. Thus, our first selection was Brothers and Sisters of Penance region, but that was denied. Our second choice was Brothers and Sisters of St. Francis region. Our region was officially established on October 20th, 1994, with 17 canonically established fraternities at the time. That all may be one was adopted as our motto for the region. Our first council had its growing pains, but with the help of the Holy Spirit and our love for one another, those growing pains converted to positive growth for our region. Our first spiritual assistant was OFN conventual friar, Father Richard Bello, who assisted the council comprised of Minister Doug Robeson, Vice Minister Mary Pollock, Secretary Francis Drew, Treasurer Nancy Farrow, along with Formation Director Marion Shriver, and counselors from each of the states, Jane Cusick, Evelyn Harden, Jackie Lambert, Ed Campbell, and me, Jenny Taylor Johnson. Our second minister, Audrey Benet, gave our region the blood transfusion that it sorely needed at the time. Her organizational skills and Franciscan spirit region to where it is today. Our second spiritual assistant was Father Linus DeSantis, OFM conventual, who remained with us for 16 years until his death. Secular Franciscan Deacon Thomas Shaver became our next spiritual assistant and stayed with us until 2023. We are truly excited to welcome Father Bob Menard, OFM conventual, as our new spiritual assistant. Having a bookstore at the ARG became a highlight, as a number of us had no Catholic bookstores in our areas. Thanks to the St. Francis Springs Prayer Center and the Franciscan family of Greensboro Fraternity, this has proved a true gift to our secular Franciscans. The ARG brought great national Franciscan speakers to our ARGs, including Father Lester Bach, Father Albert Haas, Sister Ilia Delio, Brother Bill Short, Father Sid Joseph, and secular Franciscan Marie Dennis. Participation in the ARG created numerous friendships and continue to this very day. We may only see our brothers and sisters from other fraternities only once a year, but when we see each other at the ARG, it's like time never passed. Lots of hugs, love, laughter, dialogue, and prayer.
My name is Ann Margro. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, September. I knew God was calling me to something, and I was always searching for something. But when the friars came to our parish, it just struck a chord, and I said, oh, this is what I need to do. And I was comfortable the minute I professed. I knew that's what I needed to do. I remember the early days were very confusing because we were the first fraternity in the whole area around us, and no one knew what a fraternity was. And I remember the first few years, it was really getting to find out what it was all about. Because in the beginning, there wasn't really other fraternities. I think Raleigh was our closest one. We never socialized much. But as the region got organized, they helped more and more. And they going to the ARGs helped bring the other fraternities together. And as time went on, we added more and more fraternities. So it was great to see and meet with other secular Franciscans. It was not as elaborate as it is now. We didn't really have well-known guest speakers or any material, books or anything. We just went. But to me, when I went to the first ARG, I finally felt what fraternity was about. I went, oh my God, there's other people around that are doing the same thing. And I said, in my little fraternity at the Lady of Mercy, I just thought it was us, And once I went to an ARG and saw that other people weren't doing this, and there was other fraternities around the states, I said, oh, I finally got it. This is what fraternity is about.
Greetings, my friends. My name is David Joseph Weir. Live in Nashville, Tennessee. I am 80 years old. I was professed in 1979 at the Transitus. And about the early days of the fraternity, when we actually weren't a fraternity, we were a group of people, about 4 or 5 of us, in the process of forming a fraternity with Father Ralph Zetzel as the spiritual director. We would meet at the back of once a month in the baptistry at the back of St. Henry's Church in Nashville, Tennessee. And I was professed at the Transitus in 1979, received the cord with the 3 knots. And we had a robe also at the time, which we were to be buried in. And we were the only fraternity that we knew of. There was no other one. The regional wasn't constituted until 1994, so we were sort of lost in space, just free-floating out there. I guess that's why we never developed an apostolate, because Father Ralph was recalled to his home base shortly thereafter, and then everything sort of dissipated, and people went their own way, and we were no longer active as a group because of that. When Father Ralph left, he was the only one in the area. And then the Franciscans were at St. Vincent's in North Nashville,
My name is Jo Ann Renee Rademacher, and I was born in California, Modesto, California. I professed on December 12th, 1999 in Slidell, Louisiana, and our fraternity was like 30, 40 people. Formation was done outside of the fraternity. We had a professed member that came to our house because my husband and I professed on the same day together. And so he came to our house and did our formation there, or we could go to his house. We moved here in December of 2000. I think at that time there was a Franciscan fraternity in downtown Atlanta somewhere. But then we went there a couple times, and then they moved out to Jonesboro. I went there one or two times, but that is really, really a long way to go. We met Laura Huckus at our church. She went to our church, and the priest there knew we were Franciscans and told Laura about us, and so she got with us. So the three of us plus three other people, all professed, decided we needed to start a fraternity up here in the Duluth area because we were all having trouble getting down to Jonesboro. And so the process began to take shape to become a fraternity here. It took quite a while. We were elevated to a fraternity on September 10th, 2011. And I think we started the process in 2002 or 2003, something like that. So it did take a while. And I always like going to the gatherings because of, getting to know other people from other fraternities and find out what the fraternities are doing and get some new ideas from other people. And they get ideas from us too, so it's a good give and take.
You turn your cheek to another fist. It doesn't have to end like this. God believes in you.
But the hard part of community has always proved to be what has given me the greatest growth in my faith and my secular Franciscan vocation. Through those hard or difficult times, I have learned to love my brothers and sisters unconditionally, even though we may have differences of opinions at times.
I think just the support and encouragement, I've just had so much. I know one time I walked into a meeting and people just looked at me and went, "What's wrong, Ann?" And they could tell that I was upset about something. Frank O'Neill, who was another longtime member, he was like, "What is wrong?" And I said, "Oh, I had this horrible day at work, and we had all these problems and everything." And he was talking to me about work, and I thought, I can't believe I'm getting work advice at a secular Franciscan meeting, and it's helped so much. I said, they help me no matter what. They help me in my religion, grow in my religion. They help me in my everyday life. They help me in my work life. I said, I could never give this up because they really supported my whole life.
I think the most meaningful thing that our secular Franciscan community has given me has been a strong sense of a spiritual family. It has been a source of strength for me in living out my Franciscan vocation.
And everything matters if anything matters at all. Yeah, and everything matters no matter how big, no matter how small. God believes in you. God believes in you. Blessed are the ones who grieve, the ones who mourn, and the ones.
When I started exploring the Franciscans, it felt very comfortable. It was like it was almost like I was already Franciscan. I just wasn't professed.
God believes in you. Amen. Amen. Thank you. I will gaze on the cross until love gets so lost that I no longer see my way. And my prayer be transformed like the mighty ocean shore, rolling over sands today. And I will gaze, I will gaze, sacred cross, gaze on me until I am so free that conversion is my way. One in your sacrifice, flowing in and through my eyes, till my silent soul will say, I will gaze, I will gaze, I will fix my sight on your passion's mirror. Draw me in, Lord. Draw me nearer. I will gaze on your eyes. Oh, my soul, now arise. And when my heart's ablaze,